Welcome to this collected work from the Story Attic. This story is protected under copyright law and reserved exclusively for the Story Attic. All narration, music, artwork, and written material are fully copyright protected. Unauthorized use, reproduction, or distribution is strictly prohibited. Please enjoy today's program right after this short theme song. And once again, from all of us here, thank you for joining us. Settle in, relax, and welcome to the Story Attic.
The Winterstar Chronicles, a Yuletide of impossible wonders, written by an anonymous writer for the Story Attic. Dedication to all who still believe that winter carries magic. In the hush of falling snow, in the glow of warm lanterns, in the stories whispered between worlds, and to those who have felt small, quiet, or unseen, may you find that your light shines brightest in the cold. Between the longest night and the first breath of dawn, winter remembers every soul who dared to hope. Ancient Winterstar Proverb, Chapter 1. The first snowfall of December. It was the first snowfall of December when the snowflakes began falling upward. In Frosthaven, an old pine-scented town tucked beneath the iron shoulders of the Winterguard Mountains, snow was hardly a novelty. It came early, came often, and came with a sort of theatrical determination that made neighboring towns speak of Frosthaven with equal parts envy and bewilderment. But this snow was different. It rose. By the time townspeople bustled out of bakeries and shops, half-wrapped gifts dangling from mittened hands, The sky above Frosthaven churned like a cauldron of luminous cream, and the snow, each flake a tiny six-pointed star, lifted from the cobblestones and drifted upward toward the clouds. And though dozens of townsfolk whispered, gawked, or declared it must surely be a trick of the wind, only one person heard the snowflakes whisper a name. Not a word, not a phrase, a name, his name. The boy stood alone at the edge of Frosthaven's winter market, hands buried in the pockets of a wool coat a size too large. His hood sagged slightly to one side, and a few rebellious strands of dark hair curled over his brow. A faint eight-pointed star birthmark shimmered just barely upon his left temple, the color of hoarfrost under moonlight. His name was Rowan Calder, and he was 16 years old. He had never told anyone about the whispering snow, not last year, when it murmured faintly, not the year before, when a single flake settled upon his cheek and spoke something he did not understand, and not now, when a chorus of ascending frost seemed to beckon him with a familiarity that should have frightened him, but did not. Rowan watched the snow ascend until the smallest flake vanished into the low winter clouds. His breath clouded in the air. Then he heard it again, soft, urgent, a voice woven from ice crystal and memory. Rowan! His heart trembled, like a candle in a draught. Before he could process it, the centuries-old town clock struck the hour. Not 12, not 1, 13. Rowan flinched. The chime rang through Frosthaven with a sound like a silver icicle being struck by a choir of bells. Townsfolk froze mid-stride, exchanging uneasy glances. Everyone knew Frosthaven's clock tower had peculiarities. It sometimes chimed 13 times in late December. No one knew why, and no one cared to investigate too deeply. Some mysteries the town preferred to keep. A woman pulling a sled muttered, "Not this again," and hurried her child indoors. A shopkeeper locked his door early. An elderly couple crossed themselves. Rowan felt strangely calm, perhaps because he had spent his whole life feeling like a question waiting for an answer he couldn't name. The 13th chime faded, and the world seemed to hold its breath. Chapter 2. The Visitor at Midnight. That night, Rowan lay in bed, staring at the faint constellation of glow-in-the-dark stars on his ceiling. They were cheap, peeling, and faintly greenish, but comforting in their familiarity. Outside, Frosthaven slept beneath heavy curtains of descending snow, normal snow, thankfully returning to gravity's rules. The town was quiet, save for the occasional creak of settling wood or jingle of distant wind chimes. Rowan's eight-pointed birthmark tingled, a subtle warmth like the first sip of cocoa on a cold night. He turned over and froze. A shadow loomed at his window, tall, antlered, and breathing small plumes of winter air that fogged the glass. Before Rowan could scream, the shadow tapped politely on the pane. Tap, tap, tink. The boy stumbled out of bed and approached the window cautiously, heart in throat, feet cold on wooden floorboards. He drew back the curtain. A reindeer stood outside his window. A great snow-dusted creature with a coat like midnight velvet, eyes like polished amber, and antlers that shimmered faintly with runes of frost. A scarf, bright red and absurdly cozy, was wrapped snugly around its neck, tied in a manner suggesting great pride. The reindeer bowed its head. Then it spoke. "Good evening, Rowan Calder. Might I trouble you for a moment of your time, preferably before the cosmos unravels into multi-realmic pandemonium?" Rowan fainted, to his credit, only briefly. He awoke to find the reindeer nudging him gently with its nose. "There we are," it said. "Up you get. I do apologize. Mortals often swoon upon first contact. Something to do with our voices sounding like all winters speaking at once. Their words, not mine." Rowan scrambled backward, colliding with his dresser. You're real?" "Well, I should hope so," the reindeer said. "Otherwise this visit would be terribly awkward." He cleared his throat, an impressive sound for a creature without human vocal cords. "My name is Tauren, keeper of the hidden winter, emissary of the celestial stables, part-time courier, full-time warrior. I come bearing grave tidings." Rowan blinked. "Grave tidings?" "Yes, the Winterstar Convergence is arriving early, unnaturally early, and you, my dear boy, are rather unavoidably entwined with its unraveling." Rowan exhaled, long and slow. "I'm sorry." "The winter what?" Tauren sighed deeply, sending a small flurry of snow swirling dramatically around his head. "Perhaps we should start at the beginning." Chapter 3. The Winterbound Soul. The reindeer sat, somehow elegantly, upon Rowan's bedroom floor, folding his legs beneath him. "The Winterstar Convergence," Tauren began, "is a cosmic event of exquisite precision. Every 5 centuries on the eve of midwinter, the veil between realms thins, mortal, fey, dream, starforge, and those realms older than language. Magical forces align, wishes grow weight. Reality becomes pliable as warm tallow." He looked Rowan squarely in the eye. "This year the convergence is a month early. That has never happened before." Rowan hugged his knees. "I don't understand what this has to do with me." Tauren's amber eyes softened. "It has everything to do with you. You were born 16 years ago during the last misalignment. The Winterstar marked you, quite literally." He nodded toward Rowan's temple. "That birthmark is no birthmark. It is a sigil, a cosmic anchor. You, Rowan Calder, are the Winterbound Soul. Meaning, you are the only being in any realm capable of stabilizing the convergence or shattering it beyond repair." Rowan swallowed hard. "That sounds bad." "It is," Tauren agreed cheerfully. "Quite tremendously bad. If the convergence collapses, realms will bleed into one another, magic will surge uncontrolled, the mortal world may be swallowed by frost or fire, or melodic gumdrop tyrants, depending which realm breaches first." "Gumdrop! Do not ask." Tauren stood and approached the window. "The Hollow King has begun to stir. He senses your awakening. He seeks you, Rowan, not to harm you, oh no. He wishes to remake the realms. Believes mortals have forgotten wonder. Believes only he can restore it through an eternal winter." Rowan's breath hitched. "And he wants me. Why?" "Because you are the key to the Winterstar. With you he can seize its power. Without you," Tauren considered, "well, the convergence will destabilize anyway. So either path ends in catastrophe, but one ends more quickly. That's not reassuring." "I'm an emissary, not a therapist." Tauren stepped back. "It is time. The realms call for you. You must leave Frosthaven tonight." Rowan's pulse pounded in his ears. "Leave? My family, my life. Everything's here, Torin nodded solemnly. And everything depends on you. Will you come? The snow outside glowed faintly, an impossible shade of blue that did not exist in mortal skies. The wind whispered his name. Rowan Calder, who had always felt like a puzzle piece missing its puzzle, felt something in his chest shift like a lock turning, and he stood. I'll go. Torin grinned. Excellent. Do bring a scarf. With a flick of his antlers, the window swung open, revealing a swirl of auroral light, greens, blues, golds, and a shade like dream-lit violet. A portal. Rowan hesitated at the threshold. What will happen to me? Torin's voice softened. That depends on the choices you make. But one thing is certain. He bowed, ancient and reverent. Your story begins tonight, Winterbound Soul, and all realms tremble at your first step. Rowan stepped into the light, and the world changed. Act 2, Journeys Through Winter Worlds, Chapter 4, The Road of Auroras. Rowan stepped into the auroral light, as if stepping into a dream he had once forgotten and now remembered too vividly. The air changed first, no longer the crisp, pine-scented cold of Frosthaven, but something older, sharper, humming faintly with the whisper of starlight still in the making. His boots touched what appeared to be a path woven of shimmering frost. It was not solid ice, nor was it mist. Instead, it resembled a ribbon of crystallized light stretching outward through a boundless expanse of swirling colors. Torin the reindeer stepped beside him, hooves clicking softly on the luminous trail. Welcome, Torin said with theatrical dignity, to the road of auroras. Few mortals walk it with mortal feet. You should feel honored or terrified. Most prefer a blend of both. Rowan exhaled. Where are we exactly? Between, Torin replied, a corridor connecting realms. Tonight it leads us to the Fey Court of Winter, for the Winter Queen requested audience. And when the Winter Queen requests, one does not decline. Rowan swallowed. She knows who I am. She knows of you, Torin corrected. Names among the Fey are delicate matters. They use them sparingly, except when they do not, at which point it is usually too late. Before Rowan could inquire further, the road of auroras bent sharply, unwinding like a ribbon caught in a celestial wind. Beneath them, Rowan glimpsed distant lights, cities carved into mountains of frost, floating islands blanketed in eternal snow, rivers gleaming with the glow of captured moons. For a moment he forgot fear. Wonder filled him like a warm ember against the cold. Do all realms look like this? Rowan whispered. Oh heavens, no, Torin snorted. This is merely the scenic route. The realm of broken toys, for instance, is significantly less picturesque and smells faintly of glue. The road flared brighter ahead. Brace yourself, Torin murmured. The auroral mists parted. And before them rose the Fey Court of Winter. Chapter 5, The Winter Queen's Hall. The court unfolded like a poem carved from frost and moonlight. Crystalline forests stretched endlessly, each tree a spire of translucent ice, shimmering with silver veins. Snowflakes drifted in slow spirals, lingering as though reluctant to touch the ground. Lakes mirrored the night sky perfectly, even displaying constellations Rowan had never seen. At the center of this elegant wilderness rose a palace of such artistry that Rowan's breath caught. It appeared hewn not from stone or ice, but from the very bones of winter. arched towers curling like frozen waves, bridges strung with frost writing that sang faintly when crossed. Torin bowed low as they approached. "Mind your manners," he murmured. "The Queen is fond of riddles, dangerous truths, and dramatic entrances." Rowan felt the birthmark on his temple tingle. The grand doors of the palace opened by themselves. They entered a hall of vaulted ceilings from which icicles hung like chandeliers. Each one glowed softly and released a musical note when a breeze passed, together forming a quiet, haunting symphony. At the far end stood the Winter Queen. She was tall, robed in layers of frost silk that shimmered like moonlit snowfields. Her hair resembled silver starlight cascading to her waist. Her crown was a circlet of ice branches, impossibly delicate. Her eyes, cold blue, ancient, regarded Rowan as though reading the pages of a book he hadn't yet written. "Winterbound Soul," she said, and her voice was the sound of ice fracturing on a frozen lake. "Beautiful, dangerous. You stand before my court. Speak your name." Rowan hesitated, Torin's warning about names echoing in his mind. Rowan called her. "A mortal name," the Queen said. "A small name, yet names grow like winters." She descended the steps with slow, regal grace. "Do you know why you were summoned?" "No," Rowan admitted, "not really." "A truth as crisp as the first frost," she murmured approvingly. "The convergence approaches early. This should be impossible, yet the impossible has stirred." She circled him once, assessing without touching. "You carry the mark, the star of 8 points, wrought during the last misalignment, fated to decide which way the Winterstar tilts." Rowan's pulse quickened. "Everyone keeps saying fate, but I didn't choose any of this." The Queen paused, her gaze softened, barely. "Fate is a story begun before one's birth," she said. "Destiny is the choice of how it ends." A hush settled, then her expression darkened. "The Hollow King stirs," she continued. "His domain rots in silence. His grief seeps across realms. If he seizes the Winterstar through you, all worlds will kneel beneath an endless winter, not the serene quietude of snow, but the devouring frost of despair." Rowan swallowed. "Why me?" "You are the only one who can anchor the convergence," she said. "But anchoring has its cost." "What cost?" "That," she said with a faint smile, "is a riddle time will answer." She raised a hand, a shard of ice, a star shard humming with inner light, floated toward Rowan. "Take this, a fragment from the Starforge expanse. It will call to its siblings when the hour is right." Rowan reached out, the shard flared at his touch, and a surge of cold, wild magic shot through him. He gasped as frost blossomed across the floor in intricate patterns. Torin leapt back. The Winter Queen exhaled sharply. "So," she whispered, "the power within you wakes faster than foreseen." Rowan stared at his trembling hands. "What's happening to me?" "Your nature reveals itself," the Queen said. "You channel winter without command. Untrained, you are a storm waiting to split the world." The hall darkened momentarily, torches flickering, frost blooming across stone. Rowan clenched his fists. "I don't want to hurt anyone." The Queen studied him carefully. Then you must learn control before the Hollow King learns to control you. Chapter 6. The Hearth Realm. The Winter Queen permitted them to leave only after Rowan regained his breath, and the floor had thawed enough to avoid diplomatic incident. Your next path, she instructed, leads through the Hearth Realm. Warmth must meet cold, light must temper shadow. Only a heart grounded in kindness may resist the Hollow King's call. Torin nodded gravely, guiding Rowan once more to the road of auroras. Be warned, Torin murmured as the palace faded behind them. The Hearth Realm is not as harmless as it appears. Its magic runs on goodwill most of the time, but goodwill is fragile. When dimmed, the Hearth Realm flickers like a candle in a storm. Rowan didn't have time to ask what that meant. The road burst open into an explosion of warm color. They stepped into a world of twilight gold skies and cobblestone streets, dusted not with snow, but with soft motes of glowing ember light. Lanterns shaped like hearts and stars lined every path, burning with gentle radiance. The air smelled of cinnamon, citrus, and the sort of cozy nostalgia one feels only near fireplaces on December evenings. Welcome, Torin announced, to the Hearth Realm, dimension of stories, laughter, and dangerously sentimental enchantments. Creatures of all sorts bustled about, gingerbread folk carrying parcels, sentient stockings knitting themselves into scarves, plump rosy spirits drifting with teapots in tow. A round, jolly figure waddled toward them. My dear Torin, the being exclaimed, arms wide, and you brought a mortal? How delicious! Not literally, Torin warned. Of course not literally, the being chuckled. At least not any more. I am Wendell the Hearth Warden, keeper of warmth and merriment. Wendell grabbed Rowan's hands, eyes twinkling. Oh my, a winterbound soul. Haven't seen one of your kind in centuries. You're thinner than the last one. Rowan blinked. There was another. Oh, certainly, Wendell said. Brave lass, extraordinary laugh. Shame what happened to her. Torin cleared his throat loudly. Wendell, not now. Oh, right, yes, my apologies. Wendell leaned closer to Rowan. Another time. Rowan's stomach tightened. Please, what happened? Wendell smiled sadly. She made her choice, as you will make yours. Before Rowan could ask more, a tremor shook the cobblestone streets. Lanterns flickered. Wendell's joviality dropped. Oh dear, not again. Across the square, a string of festive lights dimmed. A ripple of shadow passed over buildings fashioned from storybook charm. Children-shaped spirits in pajamas clung to each other. What's happening? Rowan whispered. The convergence, Wendell murmured. Its imbalance reaches even here. If the Hearth Realm grows too dim, kindness itself unravels. Torin nudged Rowan gently. We should go. Wendell pressed a warm, glowing lantern into Rowan's hands. A heart flame lantern, Wendell explained. It shines brighter when kindness thrives, and dims near sorrow or ill intent. Keep it close. It may save you, or doom you. Hard to say. Rowan swallowed. Comforting. Off you go, dear boy, Wendell said. The Hollow King's shadow lengthens, and you've more realms to walk before the night is done. Chapter 7. The Realm of Broken Toys. If the hearth realm was warmth incarnate, then the next realm was its chilling opposite. The road of auroras convulsed as they approached, a ripple of distortion akin to glass cracking under pressure. Torin tensed. This realm is unstable. Stay close to me, and no matter what you hear, do not wander from the path. The aurora peeled open to reveal a wasteland of half-light and fractured silhouettes. The ground was littered with abandoned toys, dolls missing eyes, trains without wheels, stuffed animals torn at the seams. Yet each retained a thin shimmer of former love. But something darker writhed beneath them. "Welcome," Torin whispered, "to the realm of broken toys." A hollow clatter echoed through the gloom. Rowan shivered, the lantern in his hand dimmed. "Torin, what is this place?" "A refuge," Torin said. "Once, for things forgotten but not unloved. But a corruption spreads here now, a hunger." Rowan saw movement in the corner of his eye. A marionette dragging its splintered body across the ground. A jack-in-the-box lid twitched open violently, revealing nothing inside. A teddy bear shuffled past, one button eye glowing faintly. None made a sound, until, "Help!" a tiny voice whimpered. Rowan turned involuntarily. A porcelain doll, cracked, shaking, eyes filled with a strange, pleading awareness, reached a small hand toward him. "Please, don't leave us." Rowan stepped forward. "Rowan!" Torin barked. "Do not touch!" But he was too late. The doll's hand brushed Rowan's palm, and the world detonated in cold, shattering light. A flood of voices screamed, not in pain, but in desperate longing, wishes of lost children, memories of abandoned Christmas mornings, regrets embedded in forgotten toys. Rowan fell to his knees, clutching his head. "Torin, make it stop!" Torin lunged, antlers glowing faintly with protective runes. He struck the ground, sending a shockwave that broke the connection. The voices ceased. Rowan collapsed, breath ragged. The doll lay still, its glow extinguished. Torin knelt beside him. "This realm is feeding on sorrow. The Hollow King's influence spreads here fastest. He preys on grief, on longing. You must steel your heart, Rowan." Rowan wiped a tear he hadn't realized had fallen. "I hate this," he whispered, "all of this." "That," Torin murmured, "is why you were chosen. You feel, even when it hurts." A distant rumble rolled through the realm, a sound like a great door groaning open. Torin stiffened. "He knows you're here." Rowan swallowed hard. "The Hollow King." "Yes," Torin whispered. "And if he reaches you too soon, this journey ends in ruin." He nudged Rowan urgently. "Come, we must flee to the Starforge expanse before he closes the way." Rowan stood, unsteady but determined. The lantern in his hand flickered, weak but still burning. He followed Torin back onto the trembling auroral path, as the realm of broken toys whispered after him, "Winterbound Soul, we remember you. We remember the last one." Rowan shuddered. He did not look back. Act 3, The Descent into Shadow, Chapter 8. The Starforge expanse, the road of auroras trembled beneath Rowan's boots, as if the fabric of reality was shivering. Torin galloped ahead, antlers burning with soft blue starlight. "Hold fast," he called. "The expanse does not welcome travelers gently." Rowan shielded his eyes as the auroral curtain split open. unveiling a world unlike anything he had ever imagined. The Starforge expanse was not a realm so much as an eternal workshop of the cosmos. Great anvils of meteor iron lay embedded in the void, surrounded by forges of burning nebulae, celestial artisans, tall beings of luminous essence, their bodies shaped from constellations, hammered glowing metal into new stars. Each strike sent ripples of newborn light cascading across the firmament. Far above, intricate machinery the size of mountains turned with slow majesty. Gears of crystallized galaxies, pulleys spun from comet tails, chains forged of frozen time threads. These mechanisms connected to a colossal sphere suspended in the center of the realm, the Winterstar. Rowan's breath halted. It pulsed with living light, blue, gold, and a strange violet that seemed to hum in harmony with his heartbeat. He felt it tug at him gently like a forgotten lullaby. Torin approached a platform where a young figure paced anxiously, muttering into a glowing journal. "Lysa!" Torin called. "We need you!" The figure turned, a celestial apprentice, perhaps 14 in mortal appearance, but her eyes were older than snowfall. Her hair flickered like candlelight in a draught. "Torin," she said sharply, "you're late. The mechanisms have slipped 7 degrees out of alignment. 7! Do you know how catastrophic that is?" She finally noticed Rowan. "Oh," she breathed, "he's here." Rowan lifted a hand. Hello." She stared openly at the 8-pointed birthmark on his temple. "Incredible," she whispered. "Terrifying, unavoidable, but mostly terrifying." Rowan sighed. "That's becoming a theme." Lysa snapped her journal shut. "The Winterstar is malfunctioning," she said. "Something or someone has tampered with its cycle. The convergence is accelerating toward collapse, and if the Winterstar cracks—" The platform shuddered violently. A deep groan echoed through the expanse. Rowan felt the vibration in his bones. "What was that?" he gasped. Lisa's expression darkened. "The Hollow King," she whispered. "He reaches even here." Torin stamped a hoof. "But how? No mortal or fey magic can infiltrate the Starforge." "Because," Lysa said softly, "he is neither mortal nor fey anymore." She pointed toward the Winterstar. It now flickered with a sickly, shadow-laced glow, like frost infected by soot. Rowan's heart lurched. Lysa continued, "Rowan, you must understand, you were born marked by a misalignment. You are tied to every fluctuation of the Winterstar. And if you don't stabilize it," she gestured toward the cosmos below. Stars flickered out like candles. "Everything ends." Rowan's knees weakened. "I don't know how to fix this," he whispered. "You must learn," she replied, "because the last Winterbound Soul couldn't." The sentence dropped like a stone into a frozen lake. Rowan stared at her. "The last one? What happened to them?" Lysa exchanged a troubled glance with Torin. "He deserves to know," she said. Torin sighed, snow swirling around his muzzle. "She chose to face the Hollow King alone," he said quietly. "She believed she could redeem him, that her compassion could heal his wound." Rowan swallowed thickly. "Did it?" Torin's eyes softened with ancient sorrow. "No." The platform trembled again, stronger this time. A scream of twisting metal filled the expanse. Lysa shoved a Starforge hammer into Rowan's hands. "Take this." He nearly dropped it. Its weight was both physical and metaphysical, humming with the heartbeat of dying constellations. "What am I supposed to do?" he cried. "Anchor your will to the winter star," Lysa said. "Hold its cycle steady." A blast of shadow erupted from the star's surface, violet fire laced with icy black. The force hurled Rowan backward. He skidded to the platform's edge. Torin lunged to catch him, but the shadow hit first. Dark frost coiled around Rowan's arms, climbing toward his birthmark like a serpent drawn to its kin. Rowan screamed as freezing static filled his vision. The Winterstar spoke inside his mind. "Join me, complete me, the Hollow King waits." And somewhere deep within the shadow, Rowan glimpsed a figure standing alone amid endless snow, a tall being with a hollow crown of antlers, sorrow carved into his very bones. "The Hollow King." He whispered Rowan's name as though it were a prayer. Rowan's vision cracked like ice underfoot. Chapter 9, A Fracture Across Worlds. When Rowan awoke, the Starforge expanse was in chaos. Celestial artisans rushed about, reinforcing structures, sealing cracks in the cosmos with molten starlight. Torin stood guard over Rowan, while Lysa hovered anxiously, her journal now scorched around the edges. "You're alive!" she cried. Rowan groaned. "Mostly." "What happened?" Torin demanded. "You connected to the Winterstar too early," Lysa said. "The star recognized you, the shadow recognized you, and the Hollow King touched you." Rowan flinched. "I saw him." Torin stiffened. "And he didn't look like a monster," Rowan whispered. "He looked lonely." Lysa dropped her gaze. "That is his greatest weapon." A deep hum pulsed through the expanse. The Winterstar glowed more erratically, sometimes bright, sometimes dim. Torin stepped closer to Rowan. "You must be careful. The Hollow King preys on wounds of the heart." Rowan stared at the hammer Lysa had given him. "What wound?" he asked softly. Lysa bit her lip. "You don't know, do you?" Rowan frowned. "Know what?" Torin nudged Lysa gently. "This is not the place." But the expanse suddenly dimmed, and a wave of chilling wind swept through, carrying whispers from another realm. Voices Rowan recognized, Frosthaven voices, children screaming, adults shouting his name, church bells ringing in discordant panic. A small boy cried, "Mom, the lights won't stop flickering." An old man shouted, "The sky! Look at the sky!" Rowan spun toward the nearest viewing pane. Through the cosmic glass, he saw Frosthaven's sky crack open, aurora colors bleeding downward in violent spirals, frost creeping across rooftops like living veins. Torin inhaled sharply. "The realms bleed into one another. The convergence is accelerating. We are running out of time." Lysa scribbled furiously in her journal. "The Hollow King is pulling at the Winterstar, and Rowan is his tether." Rowan stepped back. "No, I'm not helping him. I'm trying to stop this." "The mark on your temple links you," Torin said gravely. "Where you go he feels, what you feel he hears." A tremor shook the floor. Lysa grabbed Rowan's arm. "You must face him eventually, but not here, not now." Rowan's hands trembled. "I don't want to be part of this." "Yet you are," Torin said, "because you care. You feel too deeply, and that is what makes winter magic answer you." Rowan stared once more into the cracked sky of Frosthaven, his town, his family, his life, all unraveling because of him. "I didn't ask for this," he whispered. "No chosen soul ever does," Torin replied. "Not to destroy you." His tone was achingly sincere. "To save you." Rowan blinked. "Save me? From what?" The Hollow King's sorrow deepened. "From the fate all winter-bound souls share," Torin snarled. "Silence!" But Rowan stepped forward. "What fate?" The Hollow King's voice grew soft, grief layered beneath grief. "To anchor the Winterstar is to surrender one's essence, your memories, your name, your life. That is the cost of maintaining the cycle." Rowan froze. Torin looked pained. "Rowan, he twists truths." "They hid this from you," the Hollow King said, gaze piercing, "as they hid it from the one who came before you." Rowan's stomach collapsed inward. "The last winter-bound soul," he whispered. "She died." The Hollow King shook his head slowly. "Worse." He reached toward the cracked window. "She was unmade." Silence swallowed the expanse. Rowan's heartbeat thundered in his ears. "You're lying," he whispered. But the Hollow King's eyes, hollow, aching, ancient, did not waver. "I would unmake 1,000 winters before I watched another child suffer her fate." The realm trembled, reality twisted. For the first time, Rowan didn't know whom to fear or whom to believe. Act 4, The Final Convergence. Chapter 11. Frosthaven falls into winter light. Rowan had known fear before. Small fears, mortal ones, exams, loneliness. The feeling of being an interloper in his own life, but the fear that seized him now, this cosmic dread that curved across realms, was deeper, primal. It scraped at the inside of his bones. The Hollow King's presence fractured the Starforge expanse like brittle glass. Celestial artisans fled to higher platforms. Lisa clutched a railing to keep from being pulled into the swirling vortex of shadow pouring from the Winterstar. Torin planted himself like a living bulwark, voice sharp with panic. "Rowan, look away! Do not meet his eyes!" But Rowan could not. The Hollow King's sorrow held him as surely as chains. "The convergence reaches its apex," the Hollow King said. "The boundaries of the realms fail. The worlds collapse toward Frosthaven." He raised a single hand. The viewing window flared. Rowan saw his town, not as it had been, but as it was becoming. Auroras spiraled downward, latching onto rooftops like vines of living light. Fey creatures darted through the pines. Broken toys crawled through alleyways and beneath porches. Hearth spirits flickered inside windows as families huddled together. Even the mountains themselves glowed faintly, as if something ancient stirred beneath the snow. And above all, the Winterstar descended like a burning comet. Rowan gasped. "No, no, it's too soon." "Yes," whispered the Hollow King, "too soon, because they sabotaged its cycle, because they feared me more than they honored you." Lysa shouted across the platform, desperation cracking her youthful voice. "Rowan, you must not listen to him. He will twist your heart against itself." The Hollow King turned his gaze on her. "Child of the Forge, you know the truth. Say nothing you are unwilling to watch unravel." Lysa's mouth snapped shut. Torin reared. antlers blazing. "Enough! Be gone, shade of winter sorrow!" He charged and collided with nothing. The hollow king was already gone, withdrawn into the shadowed fracture in the window. The realm's alarms fell silent. Only the grinding, unstable pulse of the Winterstar remained. Rowan stumbled backward. "Torin, is it true? Anchoring the Winterstar means losing everything." Torin's breath steamed in pained clouds. "It is the oldest cost in winter magic. A soul must become the anchor, immortalized but erased. It is how the realms survive." Rowan felt the floor tilt. "And the last winterbound soul." Torin closed his eyes. "We do not speak of her fate," Lisa whispered. "She died as herself, but lives as the star's memory, neither alive nor gone." Rowan pressed a shaking hand to his birthmark. "Why didn't anyone tell me?" "Because," Torin said, voice cracking, "you are still a child." Rowan looked again at Frosthaven, his home, his mother's warm kitchen, his little sister's laugh, the lights on Main Street, the market stalls selling cocoa and knitted mittens, the bookstore owner who saved him signed editions, the teachers who believed he would grow into himself. They were all in danger. Because of him, or because of destiny. He couldn't tell the difference anymore. The Winterstar flared violently. A wave of cold magic burst outward, knocking Rowan to his knees. Lisa screamed, "It's descending! If Rowan doesn't anchor it, now, every realm will collapse." Torin turned to Rowan, voice pleading. "Your choice must be made in Frosthaven. The battle will gather there." Rowan stood, and for the first time he did not tremble. "Then that's where I'm going." Chapter 12. The Battle of Frosthaven. The journey back to the mortal realm was nothing like the first. The road of auroras twisted in violent spirals, colors smeared into streaks. Torin struggled to keep balance as shadow and starlight collided around them. When the aurora finally opened, Rowan found himself standing at the edge of Frosthaven's central square. Except the square no longer belonged solely to Frosthaven. All realms had bled into one. Fey spires rose like frozen arches above the town hall. Hearth lanterns floated through the air, shedding desperate golden light. Gnarled root beasts from the forgotten dream forests lumbered past buildings that flickered between brick and crystalline ice, and weaving among them, toy soldiers and wind-up beasts, led by a towering nutcracker warrior with splintered armor and a broken jaw. He saluted Rowan sharply. "Commander, awaiting orders." Rowan jumped. "What? No, I'm not." Torin nudged him gently. "To them, Winterbound Soul, you are." A howl split the sky. Fey wolves descended from the rooftops, sleek creatures with constellations burning in their fur. Their queen was nowhere in sight, but they formed ranks around Rowan, eyes glowing with loyalty sworn ages before he was born. To the west of the square, hearth spirits rallied families into protective circles. Their lantern light flickered weakly, dimmed by the growing shadow spilling from the approaching Winterstar. The ground cracked, snow rose in spiraling tendrils, and the Hollow King stepped into Frosthaven. He was magnificent and terrible, antlers crowned in frost, cloak trailing endless drifting snow, eyes glowing with cold fire. Every breath he took crystallized the air. Yet he did not stride into battle. He walked toward Rowan softly, almost tenderly. "You should not have come alone," Rowan swallowed. I'm not alone. Tauren pawed the ground. The Nutcracker warrior raised a massive toy sword. The wolves growled. Hearth spirits burned brighter. The Hollow King dipped his head. So be it. A chaos of beauty and terror erupted. Fey wolves leapt, trailing comet fire. Toy soldiers charged with clicking precision. Hearth spirits threw arcs of molten kindness that seared holes in the icy ground. Shadow beasts emerged behind the Hollow King, elongated drifting shapes of broken winter memories. They clashed with Rowan's allies in a blizzard of glittering frost and ember-lit cracks. Rowan raced toward the descending Winterstar, heart pounding in terrified rhythm. He held the Starforge hammer tightly. Lysa had said he must anchor the Winterstar by striking its core, not physically but with will, with soul, with surrender. He climbed the cracked fountain in the center of the square for vantage. "Tauren!" Rowan shouted. "Keep them back!" Tauren charged, antlers shattering shadow beasts into wisps. Rowan raised the hammer. The Winterstar descended like an impossible son of winter light. His birthmark burned, every realm trembled, and a voice whispered behind him, "Rowan." The Hollow King. He stood a breath away but made no strike. "Look at them." He gestured to the battle. "This is the future they expect you to die for." Rowan clenched the hammer. "They expect me to save them, not die. They hide the truth." The king's voice softened. "Once you anchor the Winterstar, you will fade. Not immediately, but swiftly. Soon no one will remember your voice, your laughter, your name." Rowan trembled. He thought of his younger sister. The way she always stole the marshmallows from his cocoa, the way she hugged him every morning before school. Would she forget him? Would he forget himself? The Hollow King extended a hand. "Join me, Rowan. Together we can forge a new cycle, one where anchoring does not require sacrifice, one where winter heals instead of devours." Rowan stared. In those hollow eyes, he saw a man who had once been something else, someone else, a guardian, a protector. A soul shattered by the cost of trying to save the last Winterbound soul. He understood then. The Hollow King had not been born. He had been made from failure, grief, and the ancient cruelty of destiny. Rowan whispered, "You loved her." The Hollow King closed his eyes. "More deeply than winter loves silence." Snow fell around them. The world waited. Chapter 13, The Anchor and the Choice. Rowan looked up at the Winterstar. Now so close its light bathed them in shimmering frost fire. He looked at Tauren fighting desperately, at Wendell shielding terrified children, at the wolves bleeding starlight onto the snow, at toys fighting valiantly despite their cracks. And then he looked at the Hollow King. "Your way destroys the realms," Rowan said softly. "My way destroys me. It need not." "Yes," Rowan replied, "it does." He raised the hammer. The Hollow King recoiled as if struck. "Rowan, don't!" But Rowan smiled faintly. "For the first time, I know who I am." He leapt from the fountain. The Winterstar opened like the heart of a dying god. Rowan plunged the hammer into its core. A sound like a million ice crystals shattering filled the square. Winter light exploded outward. The convergence froze in place. Every realm shuddered. The Hollow King screamed, not in rage, but heartbreak so deep it fractured the snow beneath him. Rowan! Rowan felt himself dissolving like a snowflake melting into light. He heard Torin crying out. He heard his sister's voice, faint but clear. Rowan, come home, he whispered. I'm sorry, but a voice answered, do not apologize. The Hollow King knelt beside him, snow swirling wildly around them. If sacrifice is the law of winter, then let it be shared. He seized Rowan's hand and poured his ancient shattering magic into the winter star alongside him. The star roared. Light engulfed them both. Reality folded inward. A wave of silence swept the realms, and the convergence stabilized. Chapter 14. When the light faded. The winter star ascended once more, bright and whole. The realms peeled apart cleanly, returning to their rightful boundaries. The toy armies saluted and vanished. Fey wolves melted into stardust. Hearth spirits drifted back to their twilight home. The shadow beasts dissolved like morning frost. In the center of Frosthaven's quiet square lay a patch of untouched snow, and upon it a single, faint, 8-pointed star print. Torin bowed his head. So it is done, he whispered brokenly. Lisa wiped tears she could not explain. But Wendell the hearth warden, approached the star print, kneeling with the reverence of a priest, and smiled, because the snow around the star print shimmered with faint warm light, the light of a soul, not erased, a soul anchored but not consumed, a soul changed. The Hollow King was nowhere to be seen, Rowan was nowhere to be seen, but the winter star glowed brighter than ever. And when Frosthaven's residents emerged, trembling, confused, alive, they all felt it, a gentler winter, a kinder frost, magic, small and quiet, nesting in the air like a secret hoping to be kept. Epilogue, the snow that remembers, open-ended ending, where magic lingers, and Rowan's story is not finished, only transformed. Winter settled gently over Frosthaven that year, gentler than anyone could remember. The storms came softly, the nights felt warmer, as though invisible lanterns glowed between the stars. And though no one spoke it aloud, townsfolk walked with the odd, persistent sensation that someone benevolent watched over them. Whispers in the pines. Children said they heard bells in the pines, bells that weren't wind chimes or sleighs, bells that sang soft lullabies when the dusk settled blue over the snow. Elders said the snowfall changed. It patterned itself in curious shapes, 8-pointed stars, spirals like the auroras, runes no historian could identify. The mayor ordered a scientific study. The scientists got frostbitten fingertips and blurry photographs. No one understood what they saw. And so Frosthaven did what Frosthaven always did, called it holiday charm, and carried on. But late at night, if you listened closely, the falling snow whispered, Rowan, too, the Hollow King is gone, and not gone. The Hollow King vanished with the dawn after the convergence. His antlered crown was found on the forest edge, melted into a puddle of glittering frost water. Some said it meant he had been destroyed. Others said it meant he had been freed. But animals in the Winterguard Mountains behaved strangely that season. A stag, larger than any known species, was seen once at twilight, bowing its head as though in grieving salute toward Frosthaven. When hunters followed its tracks, They found the prints froze not only the snow, but time itself within them. The tracks ended at the ridge overlooking the town, where the wind sighed like a man finally at rest. Third Taurin's vigil. Residents occasionally glimpsed a large reindeer standing outside Rowan Calder's family home, sturdy, dignified, wrapped in a red scarf perpetually dusted with star-glitter snow. He never harmed anyone. In fact, he bowed politely if addressed, but no one could approach him. When touched, he vanished like breath on glass. Mrs. Calder began leaving a bowl of oats and apples on the porch every night. By morning it was always empty, and hoofprints circled the house protectively. 4. The lantern that wouldn't go out. In Rowan's bedroom, left untouched since the strange lights of that fateful night, a small lantern sat on the windowsill, a simple thing shaped like a heart, warm to the touch, a heart-flame lantern. It should not have worked in the mortal world, its magic should have faded, but every dusk, as the sky purpled into evening, it flickered on, quietly, steadily, as though greeting someone unseen. Mrs. Calder tried to turn it off once. It flared brighter, just a little, and she let it be. The snow print. Children playing behind the fountain found something strange that spring, when the last winter's ice finally melted. A shallow impression in the stone, 8-pointed, perfectly symmetrical, unweathered by time. Every attempt to polish or scrub it away failed. It glowed faintly whenever snow touched it. Tourists asked if it was an art installation. Locals simply smiled. 6. A letter in the night. The first snowfall of the next winter fell quietly, tenderly, flakes drifting like feathers from the sky, and on Rowan's windowsill appeared a letter. No one saw it delivered. It was addressed in handwriting Rowan's mother did not recognize, but somehow felt familiar. The seal was an 8-pointed star pressed into indigo wax. Inside, on a single sheet of starlit parchment, were words written in a script that shimmered like frost. I kept my name, I am not gone, I am becoming. When you dream of winter, that is when I'm closest. When you light the lantern, that is when I hear you. Tell her I remember the cocoa. Tell her I remember her laugh. Tell her I am watching the first snow with her. Every year, from the other side of wonder. There was no signature. It did not need one. Mrs. Calder wept, quietly and beautifully. She placed the letter inside the family Bible. It glowed faintly on Christmas Eve. 7. What lingered in Frosthaven. Years passed. The winter market grew a little brighter each season. Auroras sometimes danced unexpectedly, even in clear skies. Snowflakes occasionally fell upward just for a moment, as if greeting someone above. And every once in a great while, on the stillest nights, when the wind was soft and the stars hung low, children swore they saw a boy of about 16 walking along the edge of town, dark hair, a faint glow at his temple, a coat too large, a lantern in his hand. When they blinked, he vanished, but the lantern light remained in the air, a heartbeat longer than it should. 8. A story left open. Some say Rowan Calder became the new keeper of winter's balance. Neither mortal nor spirit, but something kinder. Some say the Hollow King was redeemed, walking the unseen forests, ensuring Rowan never bore loneliness as he once had. Some say Rowan would one day return, fully when the realms next touched, stepping back into Frosthaven as gently as the first snowflake falls. And some say he never left. Not truly, because winter in Frosthaven now had a heartbeat, a quiet, steady one. And when the lanterns glowed, The bells chimed 13, and snow shaped itself into 8 pointed stars. You could almost feel someone smiling.